and welcome back to the Calvin Tobin Show. I am your host, Calvin Tobin. Today we have a lot to talk about, so let's get right into it. Alright, I know we all love our MVPs because I'm about to rant about an MVP candidate who's been going off this season in the MLB. And his season has not been short of anything spectacular. And his name is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And he has been torturing and annihilating pitcher after pitcher after pitcher. And specifically against the Red Sox, where he had a 3-game series against them and just destroyed every single pitcher that was thrown at him in that series, because he had 7 RBIs, he had 7 runs, and he had 5 hits along with 3 home runs. You can't get any better than what Guerrero Jr. did against the Boston Red Sox in his most recent series. And in his last game is where he had his best game with 2 hits, 3 runs, 3 RBIs, and a home run in that one game, destroying Boston 18-4. Now, in this season, what he's done, he's in top 5 of the 4 statistical categories that matter the most when it comes to hitting. He is number 1 in RBIs with 55. He is number 1 in home runs with 21. He is also number 3 in batting average with a .344. And he is number 5 in hits with 77 total hits. Guerrero is an absolute beast, especially because we're only 65 games in, and we still have 100 games to go. So what is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. going to end up with the end of the season? We will definitely find out, because he is beasting it all over the place. Now, talking about MVPs, Nikola Jokic got ejected 3 minutes and 52 seconds into the third quarter because of a little reach-in foul that turned into a flagrant 2, which did not need to go that far, but it went because he had just a little scuffle with Devin Booker because he accidentally brushed Mikal Bridges' nose after trying to take out his frustration on trying to steal the ball. Like, are you kidding me? The officials are just going too far with this. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. You really gonna eject the MVP? Where I get that it was probably a flagrant 1 for what Nikola Jokic did, but not a flagrant 2 where you need to kick out the MVP, because that's the main reason and one of the biggest reasons why people watch the NBA or watch any sport, and specifically the playoffs, is to watch the MVP play his game and see him do his work and be outstanding. Now, the refs, they have got to ease back, because throughout the NBA over the last 10 to 15 years, it has gotten softer and softer and softer, and it's starting to get annoying because there are a whole bunch of plays where players get kicked out and they don't even need to whatsoever. And besides, the Phoenix Suns, they're just completely dominant in this series against Denver too, because they swept them complete 4-0, and they are definitely one of the, if not the scariest team left to play in the NBA playoffs, because the 4 games that they played against the Denver Nuggets, they destroyed them by 15 or more points every single game. And Devin Booker and Chris Paul are your biggest reasons to worry about when it comes to playing them. But who's going to play them next? Will it be Utah, or will it be the LA Clippers? Because that Utah and LA Clippers series, it's hard to tell, because they're both tied at 2-2, and so is the Brooklyn Nets and the Milwaukee Bucks. I can't tell what series is better, because it looks like both these series could go a possible 7 games, because you got Paul George and Kawhi Leonard against Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. You also got Giannis Antetokounmpo and Chris Middleton against Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, and James Harden. But as of right now, it's just Giannis and Chris Middleton against Kevin Durant, because unfortunately Kyrie Irving is out for Game 5 because he was going for a layup and Giannis came into the middle of the paint to get the rebound, and Kyrie Irving unfortunately landed on Giannis' foot and twisted his ankle and is now going to be out for Game 5. And since Kyrie Irving is out with a twisted ankle now, and we don't know when James Harden is going to be able to come back with a pulled hamstring, how far and how well can Kevin Durant pull this team out to get the victory in this series against the Bucks? Because over the last 2 games, it looks like the Milwaukee Bucks might have the Brooklyn Nets numbered, because they've won both times on a dominant scale, and especially last game, because the Milwaukee Bucks destroyed them by 11 points, and it looks like that the Brooklyn Nets are starting to lose it, and it looks like they won't have that. Even Kevin Durant won't be enough to pull out the series victory unless Kyrie Irving and James Harden comes back in time to help him out. Now, here's the thing. Speaking of basketball, the Dallas Mavericks are a bit worried about Luka Doncic. Why, you say? It's because they're a bit worried that Luka Doncic doesn't want to stay with them long term. And there are rumors going on that Luka Doncic is going to get a $200 million Supermax contract. And I won't be surprised if he signs it. But for how the Dallas Mavericks have gone through the last 2 playoffs against the Clippers, both times losing in 6 games, and Luka just trying to do everything he can, scoring 40 points after 40 points after 40 points in a single game. They need another all-star, because Kristaps Porzingis ain't being that second co-star like he needs to be for Luka Doncic, and it's having the Dallas Mavericks struggle. And in a way, I don't blame Luka Doncic, because what superstar doesn't want to be on a dominant team and win games and win playoff series? Because like a whole bunch of athletes over the time in sports history, like, it takes a toll on players that if they can't win with teams and they don't leave the team that they can't win with, they end up retiring early, and it's sad for all the fans to see them go because of how much talent they have left. Now, speaking of concerns, Leveon Bell is a complete fool for saying this. He said he'd rather retire than play for Andy Reid. How could you say that, especially about Andy Reid? He is one of the top 10, top 15 best coaches of all time. He has over 200 wins, and he has been to 3 Super Bowls. Like, I don't care what player you are. I don't care if you're Tom Brady. I don't care if you're Joe Montana. If you're a player on a sports team, or even if you're Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky, any of those players, you have no right to disrespect a coach like that, because he's the reason that you are on that field and being able to have playtime and have the fun that you want to and be able to help this team win. And now, because Le'Veon Bell said that, that is going to take a massive hit to his career, because he said that about Andy Reid. He disrespected Andy Reid. And since he did that against one of the best coaches to ever coach this game, that might stop his career completely, because no one wants a guy that is just gonna shit on anybody and everybody. Because even though we had a little scuffle about a year and a half ago with Antonio Brown, he cleaned it up, which is good, and now plays for the Buccaneers. But if Le'Veon Bell keeps this up, his career could be completely over. Alright, that's the end of the Calvin Thomas Show. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel at the Calvin Thomas Show so you don't miss out on any sports media. And please follow me on Instagram at Calvin Thomas Show so you don't miss out on any sports news whatsoever. And I'm out.